Welcome back, everybody, to Sportscasters Open Mic on WJR Radio. I'm Johnny Kane, and pleased to be joined by Gabe Loper, a student at Wayne State University. Gabe, good to have you on the show.
Happy to be here.
All right, so my understanding, you are aiming for 2 degrees, not just journalism, but also public relations, and the emphasis being on sports broadcasting. You have a great story because it relates to me, obviously it relates to you, and it relates to a lot of people, the impact of video games and in growing the sport. But when you went into this, what was your vision as far as what you wanted to get across?
Very similar to you. Sports video games have played a large role in my life and me getting into sports and, football in particular. And I just wanted to kind of go out and see how sports video games have impacted different people in different ways or similar people in similar ways. And, maybe something that, somebody's learned and tried to translate to their own personal game, or someone that hasn't touched the sport at all, wanting to figure out, learn something and grind out 2K and everything like that. So, like I said, I basically just wanted to test the waters and, see what people were, really thinking in terms of the translation between video games and the real sporting world.
So as we know, obviously the love for sports comes from a variety of different places, one of those being playing video games at an early age, and that is the essence of the story from Gabe Loper. Let's listen in.
EA Sports.
It's the saying and the sound that us sports fans know and love oh so much, but what about it makes it so special? I'm Gabe Loper from Sportscaster. We're going to dig in to how the video game changed the game. At a time, one could argue, when I hated football, I wanted nothing to do with it, didn't know how to play it, had no idea how the game worked, any rules, any players, any of that outside of maybe Calvin Johnson or Matthew Stafford and Alex Smith. I wanted nothing to do with the game. Nothing at all. But all of that changed when my 8th birthday, I got my first 3DS. And with it came Madden Football 2010. Because of that game, I learned how to throw, learned the teams, learned the players, and learned the game that I love today. Fast forward years from then in high school and playing Madden Mobile during band class and during lunch and having large group chats of, playing each other with co-op franchises and all of those things. And even now, the same lens that I watch and do games with Sportscaster and watching live high school games, a lot of those aspects are similar ones that I would look at when playing a game like College Football 25 or like Madden. The analytics, the reading coverages, all of these things that are included in this immersive experience that we call sports video games, that we can take and learn a new element of the game, speed it up to something really unparalleled to what students of the game had even 10, 15, 20 years ago. The evolution of these games, from the Techno Bowl, Retro Bowl even, to games that have incredible heights and levels of detail, not just from the graphics perspective, but the immersion, the play call, the audibles, the hot routes, all of these real aspects of the game that we can take now, play now, and change the game forever. I took to the streets of Wayne State's campus and asked just a few people about how sports video games, whether it's Madden, 2K, NHL, doesn't matter. I took to the streets. How has video games, sports video games, impacted your perspective or life on sports? Made it better? Made it worse? Do you understand the game more? Do you understand the game less? What does it mean for you?
For the show, they have like a bunch of pitches, and I would always want to try to learn. Like they had like screwballs and stuff like that, and all you had to do was like draw the shape and throw it. So I remember in practice I would try and throw those, and I never could, but it kind of like got me thinking about learning stuff that you would see in the game, like when you match the PCI up to the ball and you hit. It's like thinking about hitting that way. Kind of, it never really changed stuff for me, but it's like a different way to kind of think about, how it works.
Playing the game, you realize like more of the realistic stuff. Some people might go against that. Like if you playing 2K, you would see like certain characters missing a layup. But if you actually sit down and watch the game, those type of stuff actually happen in the game. So I say those like an experience I say I learned from playing 2K.
There's a lot to sports in general. I think if you understand how to kind of run plays and stuff, that really helps you get immersed in the actual. There's another layer to watching football if you understand all that type of stuff, to running plays and the trading aspect. It's just a whole nother level of just watching the game to see who's winning, who's losing.
EA Sports released its first ever copy of Madden Football in 1988 and has produced games every year annually since 1990. That's over 40 editions of Madden Football. Since that time, they have sold over 100 million copies of Madden Football. In 1999, Allen Iverson appeared on the first ever copy of NBA 2K. Since then, 2K has released their NBA game annually and has continued to be the #1 selling and producer of NBA basketball games. EA Sports has come close as a second with NBA Live from time to time, but regardless, 2K has been the leading producer of NBA games up to this day. Fans for years, especially during the 2000s, complained that EA was making the same game over and over again. It was in 2020, it was just that Madden 20 was the same game as Madden 19, but with a reskin and a new roster update. Until 2025, the new kickoff rule and some tweaks here and there, along with the introduction of College Football 25, the long-awaited game of College Football 25, made EA Sports change their engine. And speaking of college football video games, NCAA 14, one of the greatest video games of all time, marked the last NCAA version of a football video game. Despite its release in 2013, fans played that game forever. Even as newer consoles that couldn't host the game, such as the PS4 and the Xbox One, while the game was only available on the Xbox 360 and the PS3, people would buy consoles with these games just to feel the rush, the bands, mascot mode, all of these elements to the game that were forgotten for over a decade. Until EA Sports announced, after lawmakers passed a bill that allowed for players in college to profit off of their name, image, and likeness, the introduction of college football, its return to the video game scene, and in July of this past year, college football made a comeback. EA College Football 25 came in and broke records, becoming the highest sold sports video game of all time, surpassing NBA 2K21, which was available for both next-gen and old-gen consoles. College Football 25 is only for next-gen consoles and sold more than any other video game in sports video games history. The game topped off at #2, second behind only Black Ops 6 as the highest selling video game of 2024. The game made over $500 million for EA as 2.2 million people pre-ordered the game for 3 days early access. 2.8 million, myself included, purchased the deluxe edition. The game was a huge success, bringing in not only the old fans that played NCAA football and the current fans who have been playing Madden and trudging through the same game supposedly for years on end. It brought a new engine, a new immersive experience, the stadium pulse, the student sections and the bands rocking an authentic experience, special and specific only to College Football 25. This game is just one example out of many of the ways in which video games have brought together and changed a sporting community. So, What about you? How has sports video games changed or altered your perspective on sports? Do you find yourself understanding the game more? More immersed? More knowledgeable of different teams you never heard of, rosters, players, the recruitment process, NIL, what it takes to be maybe a college football player, the road to glory, or the combine experience and story mode of Madden or 2K, what it takes to be an all-star point guard. All of these things. The experience of losing to a team in real life, a rival, maybe a team in a close game or a blowout, and being able to get onto the game and beat them 100 points to 0. The college football world, the NFL world, the NBA world, NHL, UFC, soccer, both international and domestic. All of it is at your fingertips, included and immersed in the sports world. So go on, do it. Put your old high school team in the game. Take a school that nobody knows to a championship. Make yourself a 20-time NBA All-Star and Finals MVP. Whatever you want, whatever you can do, whatever you can think of. It's in the game. I'm Gabe Loper from sportscaster.com. Thank you.
Great story from Gabe Loper there at Wayne State University. You're listening to Sportscasters Open Mic.